Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. It's Thursday. Good morning. Hopefully, everyone's having an amazing week, folks. You gotta listen to me right now. We got something massive brewing. It is happening under the surface of this market, and barely anyone is connecting the dots. Eric Trump just revealed that sovereign wealth funds, the trillions controlled by governments, those funds, guess what? They are quietly buying Bitcoin. And at the same time, the SEC chair is saying most tokens, they're not securities. That is a massive statement. We have gone through the uncertainty for the past 10 years. And now the real head of the SEC, the man with the brass, you know what, is coming out. Well, he has come out and he said that most tokens are not securities. And Jerome Powell, he's about to step on stage in Jackson Hole with a chance to announce rate cuts that could light this market on fire. This isn't random noise. This is the perfect storm building. You've got government stacking Bitcoin, regulators softening their stance, and the Fed dangling the spark that could send risk assets absolutely vertical. And yes, crypto is a risk asset. And if you think XRP, HBAR, XLM, and the rest of the altcoin markets won't benefit from that combo, well, you're not paying attention. I'm going to break it all down for you. By the time we're done here, you'll see why this next move might be bigger than anything we have seen in the past 3 cycles. Without further ado, welcome to the Bullwinkle Blueprint. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Folks, after what YouTube did 2 days ago to this channel, you can see views have dropped off tremendously. I think because they're doing a little, one of those little shadow things. Even though we're not allowed to talk about it, we're talking about it. So I really need everyone to do me a favor. Make sure you press that thumbs up button. Drop a comment below. We're going to do a little competition on the first video and second video of the day. If we break 1,000 likes on each of those videos, well, then we're going to do another one of those t-shirt giveaways. You'll go to the store, you'll pick out a t-shirt, we mail it to the winner for free. Anywhere in the world. How do you like that? So make sure you just drop a comment below. I don't care what your comment says, but make sure it says something that's actually relevant and not just like a period mark or an exclamation point. At least say hello or good morning. Something that's not body. Because if it looks body, you're not going to be a winner. But let's do that. 1,000 likes on both of these videos. I know we can do it. Let's break me out of that little shadowy stance that YouTube has done. Now let's get into it. Bitcoin, $113,343. Ethereum, $4,279. XRP, $2.89. If you're a member of that Patreon group, we got all the TA being dropped this morning, at some point this morning, as soon as I settle in. If you are a YouTube member, you can hit that join button below. Not only get ad-free, but you'll get some bonus TA so you can figure out exactly where we see the markets going. Total cryptocurrency market cap, $3.88 trillion. When we get the news that BlackRock sold another almost 2,000 Bitcoin. And Knoxshare sold 670 Bitcoin. Probably nothing to see here, right? They are just dumping their Bitcoin. Crazy speculation, crazy speculative guess by me. But what if they are dumping their Bitcoin because they are getting ready for the ETFs that are about to be proved in October? We all know what happens. You get to these ETFs early, the price is going to full send, right? Especially if we get into an XRP ETF early. So what if they're looking at their risk to reward ratio here and they realize that from this point, well, Bitcoin's not going to do a 2x, but if they look in XRP, like XRP's $3, well, XRP's going to do a 2x at a minimum. Right? So what if they're playing that game? They made their money in Bitcoin because most of them wrote it up from 50, 60K. So they made a nice 2x on it, some 3, 4, even a 5x, depending on how long they've been holding. And what if now, though? What if now, hear me out on this tinfoil hat, they are getting ready and they're getting positioned to jump into XRP or Solana or even Dogecoin, any of those other altcoins where we know ETFs are coming to? Something to think about, that's all I'm saying. Gordon's like, are we prepared for Bitcoin to pull a move like this? Let me blow up the chart. It's coming. Look, this is coming. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bitcoin is going a lot higher from here. I told you people spreading the narrative, the false news that the top is in. The top isn't in. I come on here every single day. I'm letting you know the top is not in. Is September going to be a red month for crypto? Well, history tells us it is. So yes. Is October going to be an absolutely crazy parabolic green month? Well, history tells us that it is as well. You know what I mean? We can only go off history. As I said, there is no magical chart in the world that can accurately predict this thing. Even history can't accurately predict this. But if history tells us that 80% of the time September is red, well, if you are a gambling man or woman, then you know those odds are on your side. Here's Eric Trump. This is a massive statement. Listen up.
Question related to the people that you talked with, not mentioning names, of course, but sovereigns, large-scale institutions, as you run into them across the world, and you're a real estate guy, is this a digital land grab? Is a digital land grab going on right now?
Oh God, in ways that you can't even imagine. Let me give you the sovereign wealth. I can tell you, and we know all of them, and they are all buying Bitcoin right now in massive ways, right? I can also give you the example of a good friend of mine who runs the private wealth office of, let's just call it the biggest bank in the country in Greenwich, Connecticut. He's one of my closest friends. I won't call out the bank because it'll be pretty easy to figure out who one of my closest friends is, and he'll get shelled for it. A year ago, I go to him, I go, why aren't you buying Bitcoin? He goes, Eric, Bitcoin's funny money. I you know, I'll never forget this. Bitcoin's funny money. I go, what would you be putting your money in?
Did his boss call it a decentralized Ponzi scheme? No, just kidding, just kidding.
You want to know the truth? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So anyway, I go, what would you be putting your money into? He goes, I'd be putting all my money into T-bills right now. I literally used to laugh at him, right? He calls me like 2 months ago. He goes, Eric, this whole Bitcoin thing, like I know you're really into it. Like, where do I start buying? Now the cost of Bitcoin was like $30,000 at the time, right? When he finally called me, it was like 110 or 109. And
so Eric Trump just revealed that every sovereign wealth fund is now buying Bitcoin. And they're not just buying Bitcoin, folks. Don't let this confuse you. Don't get mistaken. They are buying crypto. That's not your average retail whale. That's government money. That's the kind of cash reserves that entire nations run on. Think about how big this is. Sovereign wealth funds control trillions of dollars in assets. They move slower than private investors, no doubt about that. But when they move for decades. They're not flipping in and out for 5 or even 10% trades. They're making generational bets here. And here's the kicker. As sovereign wealth funds are now stacking Bitcoin, it means we've crossed into a new phase. This isn't about whether Bitcoin is digital gold. This is about Bitcoin becoming a core reserve asset for nations, quietly stacking with the average investor. Well, the average investor is panicking and they get worried about these little corrections because the average investor, they forget what the zoom out button is. But think about what this all signals. If governments are buying, do you think Wall Street will keep dumping long term? Do you think banks won't roll out more crypto rails? No chance. This is validation at the highest level. And you better believe it sets the stage for altcoins to catch this wave as well. Because when sovereign wealth funds normalize Bitcoin, the risk premium from everything else, well, it drops. So while everyone's watching the chart minute by minute, hour by hour, sovereign wealth funds, they're quietly making sure they are in before the next leg higher. Then we get this. Jerome Powell, Friday, his big speech is coming, folks. And that's not it. Here's the article I want to show you. Yeah, this is your. No, ready? Look at this. The Fed cut. Everyone thinking that the Fed's going to announce the cut of rates in September. We're going to find out soon here. Is Jerome Powell's about to step on stage at Jackson Hole for what could be his last keynote as the Fed chair? His term ends in 2026, and Trump here he said he's not reappointing him. So this is Powell's last chance. Let's be honest, to cement his legacy. Is he going to go out on a high note, or is he going to go out leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouth? His thing is that video playing.
Investment strategist David Kudla. It's the Davids, so I will use.
I'm gonna kill that. His speech comes to us within the next 24 hours. And here's why this all matters. Inflation is off the highs, but it's creeping back with tariffs. The jobs market, well, it's weakening fast. The July jobs report came in way under expectations, and revisions show job creation, well, it's stalling. Markets are already betting the Fed cuts the rates in September. At one point, it was over 90% on Poly market. So what happens if Powell signals that today? Well, we've seen this move before. Last year, he hinted at cuts in August. And the Fed rolled out back-to-back cuts that lit a fire under risk assets. Who remembers that? Stocks ripped, crypto exploded. This time, it could be even bigger. Why? Well, because the market is already leaning bearish. Everyone's scared. Everyone thinks that we're topping or we have topped. If Powell comes out and says, yes, rate cuts are coming, that is the exact spark risk asset that we need to rip higher. And here's the bullish kicker. This isn't just about macro. Rate cuts mean liquidity. Liquidity flows into Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, and then the rest of the altcoin market. XRP, HBAR, anything with real utility stands to benefit most when capital starts rotating in. So while people are watching for Powell to drone on the inflation targets, I'm watching for that line that flips the switch. Because if he signals cuts, this market could melt faces into Q4. So let's connect it all together, folks. We got the governments themselves through sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin, which is going to lead into them buying crypto as a whole. That's generational conviction. The SEC is softening, admitting that most tokens aren't securities and launching Project Crypto to bring real assets on chain. We're going to talk about more about this in the second video because the clarity that we have waited for almost a decade, well, it's here. And Jerome Powell could drop the spark that sets the next leg of this bull run in motion with rate cuts signaling at Jackson Hole. That is all less than 24 hours away. The narrative is changing. What looked like weakness is actually the setup. Sovereign money stacking Bitcoin, regulators shifting the tone, and liquidity about to return. Those are the ingredients for the next big move. The bull run, it's not dead. It's just reloading. The only question is, will you be positioned for when it takes off?